Hello everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel Coins History Coins VC. Today we are going to explore 4 interesting United States Kennedy half-dollar coins from different years. These coins include 1971D, 1972, 1776-1976, D Bicentennial, and 1980 D half-dollars. In this video we will learn about their history, design, mint marks, and collector value. So let's start the journey into the world of rare coins. Top 1. The United States half-dollar is a well-known American coin that belongs to the famous Kennedy half-dollar series. This coin was issued by the United States Mint and carries the D Mint mark, which means it was produced at the Denver Mint. The Kennedy half-dollar series first appeared in 1964 after the tragic assassination of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, and it quickly became one of the most recognizable coins in American numismatic history. By the year 1980, the coin was already a regular circulating issue, although half-dollars were not used as frequently in everyday commerce compared to quarters or dollar coins. Despite this, the coin remained popular among collectors because of its historical significance and strong connection to President Kennedy. The obverse, front, of the 1980 D half-dollar features the left-facing portrait of John F. Kennedy, designed by the sculptor Gilroy Roberts. Above the portrait appears the word Liberty, which is one of the most important national mottos on American coins and represents freedom and democratic values. The phrase "In God We Trust" is also present on the coin, placed below the portrait, reflecting the traditional motto adopted by the United States. The year 1980 appears at the bottom, indicating the year the coin was minted. The small D mint mark can be seen on the obverse, identifying that this particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The design is simple but powerful, symbolizing respect and remembrance for President Kennedy's leadership and legacy. On the reverse back of the coin is a detailed image of the presidential seal, which was adapted for the Kennedy half-dollar by the artist Frank Gasparo. The design shows a heraldic eagle with wings spread wide, holding an olive branch in one talon and arrows in the other, representing peace and military strength. Above the eagle are 13 stars arranged in a circle, symbolizing the original 13 colonies that formed the early United States. The words United States of America appear along the top edge of the coin, while the denomination half-dollar is written along the bottom. The phrase "E pluribus unum," meaning out of many one, is displayed on a banner above the eagle's head, reflecting the unity of the nation formed from many states and people. The 1980 D Kennedy half-dollar was made primarily from a copper-nickel-clad composition. Earlier versions of the coin in 1964 were made from 90% silver, but starting in 1970, the United States Mint changed the composition to a copper core layered with nickel on the outside. This change was made because the rising price of silver made it impractical to continue using precious metal in circulating coins. The coin weighs about 11.34 grams, has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and features a reeded edge with small grooves around the side. These specifications make it a relatively large and solid coin compared to most other coins used in daily transactions in the United States. In terms of mintage, the 1980 D half-dollar was produced in the millions at the Denver Mint, meaning it is not considered extremely rare. However, collectors still value it as part of completing a full Kennedy half-dollar collection. Coins in ordinary circulated condition usually have modest value, often close to face value, but coins that remain in uncirculated mint state condition can be worth more to collectors. Some collectors also search for coins with strong luster, minimal contact marks, or special varieties. Proof versions of the 1980 half-dollar were produced at the San Francisco Mint, but those proof coins carry the S Mint mark and were made specifically for collectors. Historically, the Kennedy half-dollar represents more than just currency. It is a symbol of national memory. When President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas in 1963, the nation was deeply shocked and saddened. In response, the U.S. government decided to honor him by placing his portrait on the half-dollar coin. The coin was released in 1964 and immediately became highly popular with the public. Many people saved the coins as souvenirs rather than spending them, which is one reason half-dollars gradually disappeared from everyday circulation. By the time the 1980 D coin was minted, the denomination was already more commonly found in bank vaults, casinos, and coin collections than in regular pocket change. Today, the 1980 D Kennedy Half Dollar remains an interesting piece for coin collectors and history enthusiasts. It reflects the design traditions of American coinage, the memorialization of an important president, and the economic changes that influenced coin materials. Even though it is not one of the rarest coins, it is still an important part of the Kennedy Half Dollar series and a reminder of the political and cultural history of the United States. For collectors building a full set of Kennedy Half Dollars from 1964 to modern years, the 1980 D issue represents a key year in the long-running series that continues to be produced by the United States Mint today. Next top 2. The United States Bicentennial Half Dollar is one of the most famous commemorative coins ever issued in the United States. This special coin was created to celebrate the 200th anniversary of American independence, marking 2 centuries since the United States Declaration of Independence. In 1976, the entire nation celebrated the United States Bicentennial, and the United States Mint released special commemorative designs for the quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins. Instead of showing a normal single date, these coins display the dual date 1776 to 1976 to symbolize the period from the founding of the United States to its bicentennial year. The D Mint mark on this coin indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the main minting facilities responsible for producing circulating coinage for the country. The obverse, front, of the 1976 D Bicentennial Half Dollar features the familiar portrait of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States. This portrait design was originally created by the U.S. Mint engraver Gilroy Roberts in 1964, shortly after Kennedy's assassination. The portrait shows President Kennedy facing left, with a calm and dignified expression that symbolizes leadership and hope. Around the top edge of the coin appears the word liberty, representing one of the fundamental ideals of the United States. Below the portrait appears the national motto, "In God We Trust," which has appeared on American coins since the 19th century. At the bottom of the obverse is the special dual date 1776 to 1976, which makes the bicentennial coins different from normal Kennedy half dollars. The D Mint mark is also located on the obverse, identifying that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The reverse back of the coin is what makes the bicentennial half dollar truly unique. Instead of the standard presidential seal design normally used on Kennedy half dollars, the reverse features a special commemorative image designed by artist Seth G. Huntington. The design shows Independence Hall, the historic building in Philadelphia, where both the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution were debated and adopted. Independence Hall is one of the most important historic landmarks in the country and symbolizes the birth of American democracy. Above the building appear the words United States of America, while below it is the denomination half dollar. The motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, appears above the image of the building. This design beautifully connects the coin to the founding history of the United States and reminds people of the events that took place in Philadelphia in 1776. The 1976 D Bicentennial half dollar was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition for circulation. The coin has a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, a weight of about 11.34 grams, and a reeded edge with small grooves around its rim. Although most circulating versions were made from copper-nickel, the United States Mint also produced special collector versions containing 40% silver, which were sold in special bicentennial proof and uncirculated sets. These silver versions were minted primarily at the San Francisco Mint and are especially valued by collectors. The circulating Denver minted coins like the 1976 D version were produced in very large numbers, so that Americans across the country could participate in the bicentennial celebration by using these special coins in everyday transactions. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of bicentennial half dollars, making them quite common today. Because so many were produced and many people saved them as souvenirs, they are still frequently found in coin collections. In ordinary circulated condition, the coin usually holds a value close to its face value of 50 cents, but uncirculated coins with strong luster or coins graded in high mint state condition can have higher collector value. Silver collector versions are worth more because they contain precious metal. For many collectors, however, the real value of the coin is historical rather than monetary. The Bicentennial Coin Program was one of the largest commemorative coin programs ever conducted by the United States Mint. During the mid-1970s, patriotic celebrations, parades, festivals, and historical exhibitions took place throughout the country to mark the 200th anniversary of independence. The special coin designs were intended to remind Americans of their history and the ideals that shaped the nation. Coins like the 1776, 1976, D Bicentennial Half Dollar became small, everyday symbols of national pride that people could carry in their pockets. Even today, decades after the bicentennial celebration, these coins remain popular among collectors and history enthusiasts because they represent an important milestone in the story of the United States. For coin collectors and historians, the 1776, 1976 D. Kennedy Bicentennial Half Dollar represents a fascinating combination of historical commemoration, artistic design, and national identity. It connects the modern United States with the revolutionary events of 1776 and honors both the founding of the nation and the legacy of President John F. Kennedy. Whether found in circulation, saved in a family collection, or displayed in a coin album, this coin continues to remind people of the long journey of the United States from its independence to its bicentennial celebration and beyond. Next top 3. The United States half dollar is part of the famous Kennedy half dollar, which has been produced by the United States Mint since 1964. The Kennedy half dollar was first introduced to honor the memory of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, after his tragic assassination in 1963. The coin quickly became one of the most recognized and historically meaningful coins in American numismatic history. The 1972 half dollar with no mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint because coins produced there during that time typically did not carry a mint mark. This makes the absence of a mint mark normal for Philadelphia issues rather than an error. The obverse, front, of the 1972 Kennedy half dollar features the iconic portrait of President John F. Kennedy facing left. This design was created by Gilroy Roberts, who served as the chief engraver of the United States Mint when the coin was first introduced. Kennedy's portrait appears calm and dignified, symbolizing leadership and the enduring influence of his presidency. Around the upper edge of the coin appears the word liberty, representing the core value of freedom that is central to the American political system. Below the portrait appears the national motto, "In God We Trust," which has been used on United States coins for many decades. At the bottom of the obverse is the date 1972, indicating the year the coin was minted. Because the coin was produced in Philadelphia, it does not display a mint mark, which distinguishes it from coins produced in Denver that carry a D mint mark. The reverse back of the coin features a detailed image of the presidential seal of the United States, adapted for coinage by Frank Gasparo, who also worked for the United States Mint. The design shows a powerful heraldic eagle with wings spread wide. In one talon, the eagle holds an olive branch representing peace, while in the other it holds a bundle of arrows symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Above the eagle is a group of 13 stars arranged in a circular pattern, representing the original 13 colonies that formed the early United States. The inscription United States of America appears around the top edge of the coin, while the denomination half dollar is written at the bottom. A small banner above the eagle's head carries the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, which means out of many one, reflecting the unity of the states that form the nation. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar was produced using a copper-nickel clad composition, a material that became standard for most United States coins beginning in 1971. Earlier Kennedy half dollars from 1964 were made from 90% silver, while coins from 1965 to 1970 contained 40% silver. However, due to rising silver prices and the need to reduce production costs, the United States Mint changed the composition in 1971 to a copper core layered with nickel on the outer surfaces. The coin weighs approximately 11.34 grams, has a diameter of about 30.6 millimeters, and features a reeded edge with narrow grooves around its rim. These physical characteristics make it one of the larger coins in regular American coinage. In terms of production numbers, millions of 1972 Kennedy half dollars were minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Because of this large mintage, the coin is relatively common today and can still be found in many coin collections. Although half dollars were originally intended for everyday circulation, They gradually became less common in daily transactions as smaller coins such as quarters became more popular for commerce. Many people also saved Kennedy half dollars as keepsakes because they honored President Kennedy, which reduced the number of coins circulating in the economy. As a result, by the 1970s and later decades, half dollars were often stored in banks or collected rather than used regularly. For collectors, the 1972 no-mint mark Kennedy half dollar is considered an important piece in completing a full date set of the Kennedy half dollar series. While the coin itself is not rare, its historical significance and connection to President Kennedy make it a meaningful addition to a collection. Coins in heavily circulated condition usually hold a value close to their face value of 50 cents, but coins that remain in uncirculated mint state condition with strong luster and minimal marks can have higher collector value. Some collectors also look for special varieties or coins with exceptional quality surfaces. Historically and culturally, the Kennedy half dollar symbolizes both remembrance and national identity. The decision to place President Kennedy's portrait on the half dollar shortly after his death showed how deeply he was admired by the American public. Over time, the coin became a lasting tribute to his legacy and a reminder of the ideals of leadership, service, and hope that many people associated with his presidency. The 1972 no-mint mark Kennedy half dollar represents 1 year in this long-running coin series, connecting collectors and historians to the broader story of American coinage and the legacy of one of the most memorable presidents in United States history. Next, top 5. The United States half dollar is an important coin in the long-running Kennedy half dollar series, issued by the United States Mint. This coin was minted in 1971 and carries the D Mint mark, meaning it was produced at the Denver Mint. The Kennedy half dollar series began in 1964 to honor the memory of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, who was assassinated in 1963. The introduction of the Kennedy half dollar was a tribute from the American people and government to commemorate his leadership and influence. By 1971, the series had already become a recognizable part of U.S. coinage, and that year also marked an important change because the coin's metal composition shifted from silver-containing alloys to a copper-nickel-clad structure used for most circulating coins today. The obverse, or front side, of the 1971 D Kennedy half dollar displays the well-known portrait of President John F. Kennedy, facing left. The portrait was designed by Gilroy Roberts, who created the design shortly after Kennedy's death. Roberts' design presents a dignified and calm image of the president, symbolizing strength, hope, and leadership. Around the top edge of the coin appears the word liberty, which is a central concept in American political tradition and appears on many United States coins. Beneath Kennedy's portrait is the national motto "In God We Trust," which has appeared on U.S. coins since the 19th century and reflects a traditional national expression of faith. The year 1971 appears at the bottom of the coin, indicating the year of minting, and the small D mint mark can be found near the date, signifying that this particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint facility. The reverse, or back side, of the coin features a design based on the presidential seal of the United States, adapted for coinage by Frank Gasparo, who served as chief engraver after Gilroy Roberts. The design shows a powerful heraldic eagle with its wings spread wide. In the eagle's right talon it holds an olive branch representing peace, and in its left talon it holds a bundle of arrows representing the nation's readiness to defend itself. Above the eagle appears a circle of 13 stars, symbolizing the original 13 American colonies that declared independence in 1776. The inscription United States of America appears along the upper edge of the coin, while the denomination half dollar appears along the lower edge. Above the eagle's head is the banner containing the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, reflecting the idea that many states and people form one unified nation. The 1971 D Kennedy half dollar is historically significant because it was the first year the coin was produced entirely in copper-nickel-clad composition. Earlier Kennedy half dollars had some silver content. The 1964 coin contained 90% silver, and the coins from 1965 to 1970 contained 40% silver. However, rising silver prices and the hoarding of silver coins caused the United States Mint to change the composition beginning in 1971. The new clad structure consists of a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. This change allowed the mint to continue producing large numbers of half dollars without relying on expensive silver. The coin weighs approximately 11.34 grams, measures 30.6 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge, which is the grooved pattern around the rim commonly seen on many American coins. In terms of production, the 1971 D Kennedy half dollar had a very large mintage, with hundreds of millions of coins produced at the Denver Mint. Because of this high production number, the coin is not considered rare today. Many examples survive in circulated and uncirculated condition, and collectors often include it as part of a complete Kennedy half dollar collection. Coins in heavily circulated condition generally hold a value close to their face value of 50 cents, while coins in uncirculated mint state condition may be worth slightly more to collectors, especially if they display strong luster, minimal contact marks, and sharp design details. Some collectors also search for coins with unusual varieties or high grading scores. Although half dollars were originally intended to circulate widely in everyday commerce, their use gradually declined over time. By the 1970s, most Americans preferred using smaller coins such as quarters, dimes, and dollar bills for transactions. As a result, half dollars were not commonly seen in daily circulation and were often stored in bank vaults or saved by collectors. Many people also kept Kennedy half dollars as souvenirs because they honored a popular and historic president. Even today, these coins are more commonly found in coin collections than in ordinary pocket change. For coin collectors and historians, the 1971 D Kennedy half dollar represents an important transition in United States coinage. It marks the beginning of the modern copper-nickel composition for the series and reflects economic changes affecting coin production in the early 1970s. At the same time, the coin continues to serve as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy and the ideals associated with his presidency. Whether found in a collection, a bank roll, or a historical display, the 1971 D half dollar remains a meaningful piece of American numismatic history and an important part of the continuing Kennedy half dollar series produced by the United States Mint.